Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we're going to check out what the floating lake head is. One of the most bizarre, interesting, and grotesque monsters that appears in the animated series Gravity Falls is the floating lake head, also known as the living island and the humanoid beast of the lake. This entity is extremely strange and lives in the waters of Gravity Falls' seemingly calm lake. Interestingly, it leaves some clues of its existence by occasionally losing its teeth, which appear on the nearby shore and look like gigantic human teeth. Additionally, it is strongly suggested that some people in town are aware of this grotesque creature and its malevolent intentions. Due to the mystery surrounding it, its strange physical appearance, and the fact that it is a partially intelligent being, the floating lake head is considered by Gravity Falls fans as one of the best moments in the animated series and its shorts. Therefore, in this video, I will explain in detail the history and known origins of the floating lake head in Gravity Falls. To do this, I will provide a complete summary of its appearance in Journal Number 3, its brief appearance in the animated series, and I will analyze its physical appearance and the characteristics we know about this being. Finally, I will explain, based on the evidence seen in the series and journals, what this creature could really be. In Journal Number 3, it is revealed that Stanford Pines indirectly encountered the strange creature during one of his excursions into the nearby woods of Gravity Falls. In the journal, he writes the following: "There's nothing like breathing in the pure, tranquil air of Oregon's forests to lift one's spirits. This morning, my assistant Fiddleford McGucket and I set out to climb Granite Pass on our way to the lake in Gravity Falls. As we walked near the stream that crosses the mountain, I was reminded of my youth and how much I hated physical activity. But since my college years, I've committed to maintaining an intense physical and mental regimen to improve my overall health. I love Tesla as a scientist, but if I ever end up looking like him at 70, someone please shoot me with the death ray I designed. I only wish my assistant followed the same exercise routine as I do. Just from our morning walk, he was already exhausted and even short of breath, so he took a break around noon. While eating his sandwich, he complained, saying he'd design robotic legs to make walking easier. He even sketched a diagram of these robotic legs, or robo-legs as I call them, in the dirt. Later, he accidentally swallowed a crumb while drawing the diagram. Eventually, we arrived at the lake, where we made an alarming yet astonishing discovery. One of the large rocks on the shore had a gigantic humanoid tooth embedded in it. There were even traces of nerve tissue on its root. Additionally, the tooth had remains of what appeared to be crushed mollusks and fish bones and a broken wristwatch on its crown. My assistant used a chisel and some dental floss to take samples from the tooth. Meanwhile, I was forming a theory about all this. In my previous excursions, I've noticed that one of the lake's smaller islands seems to be in a different location each morning. This observation leads me to conclude that the island could be some sort of creature and that this being might be the owner of the tooth we found. Could it be that the lake hides a genuine Lovecraftian horror? Therefore, I plan to investigate this mystery thoroughly in the near future. Despite this blood-chilling thought, I can't help but enjoy the scenery. There's no other place in Gravity Falls I like more than the lake. It is strongly suggested that Mr. McGucket later encountered the creature himself, which is why he was aware of the monster's existence. He warned curious people that if they saw bubbles in the water, they should quickly move away from the area. Although Stanford Pines intended to investigate all this again, he had no opportunity to do so due to his interaction with Bill Cipher, leaving this mystery unresolved. In the shorts of Gravity Falls, in episode number 5 titled The Tooth, we see that Dipper and Mabel come face to face with the monster. Dipper mentions that the day before, he made a strange discovery while at the lake practicing his musical instrument. He states that, unexpectedly, he found a gigantic humanoid tooth, which puzzled him greatly, and is something he needs to investigate further. Dipper says that the tooth is much larger than any animal or sea monster he knows of. This is why he decides to speak to people living nearby. He first contacts the owner of a shop near the lake, who tells him he knows nothing about giant teeth and becomes angry upon realizing Dipper is recording him, leading him to turn off the camera. However, he warns Dipper to be very careful if he goes to the lake and sees bubbles in the water. Despite the warning, Dipper and Mabel decide to take a small rowboat and head to the lake in the late afternoon. The area is covered in mist and has a gloomy atmosphere. Here, the kids wander around the lake without looking for anything specific, just paying close attention in case any air bubbles emerge somewhere. It's while doing this that the floating lake head emerges from the water in a menacing way. So, the Pines twins decide to row as hard as they can. Sinisterly, the creature surfaces and chases after the kids' boat. In the English version of the animated series, the creature says something unintelligible. However, fans discovered that when played in reverse, the floating head's message can be deciphered, and it was the following: "I have been awoken from my long slumber. Now, children, face your fate." After acting in a macabre way, trying to devour the Pines twins, the camera cuts abruptly, and it's revealed that, fortunately, the kids managed to survive the creature's attack. Dipper picks up the camera and says that after the direct attack, the strange floating head tried to devour the small wooden boat and lost another one of its teeth. Then, the creature submerged again, leaving no trace of its existence on the surface. It's here that Dipper declares anomaly number 42 from Dipper's Guide to the Unexplained, the tooth, concluded as the creature doesn't appear again in the animated series. And this is where the story of the floating head of Gravity Falls ends. Well, now that we've thoroughly analyzed all this, I'll talk about the monster's physical appearance and what it actually is. The floating lake head looks like a small island with some trees, pines, and shrubs. The monster generally stays underwater and can't be seen, but when it emerges, the creature floats supernaturally and appears as a giant humanoid head with a pair of large, slightly crooked, and very bright eyes. At the bottom of the head, the creature has many dangling roots. Overall, it has a fleshy and odd appearance, with skin that is gray, sometimes appearing brown. The creature also has deformed nostrils and a broad, flat, and misshapen nose, similar to its eyes. Additionally, it has a rather large mouth full of crooked yet very sharp human-like teeth. When it appears to Dipper and Mabel, it seems to be missing 2 teeth, which it is assumed to have recently lost. And below the creature lies a human skeleton, one of its more recent victims. All these features together give this being a monstrous and grotesque appearance. As we can see in Journal number 3 and in the 2nd season of the animated series, some Gravity Falls fans, myself included, believe this creature is actually the head of Bill Cipher's servant who must not be named, known as Xanthar. Xanthar is an interdimensional monster that appears directly during the events of Weirdmageddon and is one of Bill Cipher's closest friends. The creature has a somewhat animalistic body, a purplish-gray color, and pines and trees grow around its entire body. It also has legs that end in humanoid-like feet. Due to these somewhat human-like physical qualities, its massive size, coloration, and the fact that it lacks a head, many fans have concluded that the floating lake head in Gravity Falls is actually Xanthar's head, which he likely lost in Gravity Falls in the distant past. This is why the head now constantly feeds on the residents of Gravity Falls and enjoys tormenting the townspeople. This aligns with the conclusion or hypothesis Stanford Pines initially had about the horror submerged in the lake. Well, that's everything we know about the floating lake head in Gravity Falls. Honestly, this monster is one of my favorites from the shorts of this memorable animated series. Personally, I like it a lot for all the mystery surrounding it and for its interesting story, which is best recounted in Journal number 3. Additionally, I think it has a rather memorable and macabre design. I also think the fact that it speaks makes it a more complete monster, giving it a much more grotesque and terrifying touch. It's due to its memorable appearance in the animated series, the mystery surrounding it, and its strange yet chilling design that I consider the floating lake head to be a pretty cool monster in Gravity Falls and one of the best in the series. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. Did you already know about the floating lake head? Did you know its story and origins? And finally, do you agree with my theory that it's Xanthar's head? Or do you have a personal theory to explain the monster? Comment below with your answers to these questions and your overall opinion on the floating lake head in Gravity Falls. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, give it a like and share it to support the channel, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos.